can you guys give a rundown of some of the professional users of the taco product?
The Marine Corps right off the bat. That's they're now issued magazine pouches or tacos.
Yeah, it's also into LEO as well, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I would say, between state and local agencies, all the way to federal law enforcement, U.S. Marshals, Border Patrol, Bureau of Prisons, it's really actually kind of fun to see, if you turn on the news today, you're seeing tacos all over. All the Border Patrol, ICE agents, HSI, you can see OD Green tacos all over these guys, which is a proud moment for us.
So we are joined with the guys and gals from High Speed Gear, Allison, Jonathan. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So for those that those are trying to get a little info about you guys, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself to get started?
You want to go first, John, or you want me to?
So my name's John, like we were just talking about. Been working at High Speed Gear for probably about, I think, coming up on a year now. Got hired with High Speed Gear as soon as I got out of the Marine Corps. So started the Marine Corps over in Cherry Point, just right down the road from High Speed Gear, and then ended in Jacksonville over at Camp Lejeune. So worked out perfect, and here we are, man.
Love it. Love it. All paths lead to this. Aren't you proud?
Honestly, it's been a fun time.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
So what about you, Allison?
Yeah. So I've been at High Speed Gear about 6 years. I was also in the Marine Corps back in 2007 to 2011, but worked at Ellett Brothers or United Sporting Companies before High Speed Gear. They were a distributor in the firearms industry for many years.
Okay.
And then acquired AccuSport, and then everything kind of went in a different direction from there. But I was lucky enough to be reached out to by a recruiter. And ever since, I've been at High Speed Gear, and it's the closest you can get to still being in the Marine Corps, because everybody we get to work with, we get to talk to about gear needs, they end up being Marines that come right down the street here from Camp Lejeune, Camp Geiger, Cherry Point. And, John, he's so humble, he won't talk about how awesome he is, but we were begging him to come work for us before he was even EAS'd. We were like, dude, you're awesome. Like, we interviewed a ton of people, and we're very picky about who comes to work with us. And John, he's the full package. He knows what gear needs to be. He knows more about guns than I can even pretend to know. I mean, he's just an awesome fit, and he really has brought a good skill set to the team here. So
love hearing that.
I like the fact that High Speed Gear, obviously our veterans are important to them, and you guys are living that in a work-life culture. Like, that speaks volumes to the products that you're trying to produce and who they are for. So thank you. And thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
So Matt, you going to go ahead and get into our first segment?
I think it's about that time. Let's Ask AI. Our segment today is brought to you by our friends over at EOTech. I want to tell you guys about the EXPS. I just ran one in my first ever rifle competition this weekend, and helped me stay ahead of the curve. EXPS series is great for quick target acquisition, a crisp, bright reticle, and compact design that won't take up too much space on your rifle. Whether you're hunting, training, competing, or a professional end user, it's the optic that works under pressure. And with the side-mounted battery compartment, it's easy to change batteries and stay on the go. So make sure to get over and check out the EXPS series of optics at eotechinc.com. And don't forget to use Whiskey 10 at checkout.
Dude, you sounded like the guy on Price is Right talking about the blender that's going to win. Like, I'm just going to
No, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. I appreciate that. That's a good one.
We'll go with it. All right. Well, what does AI have to say, Matt?
So AI, we like to do, what does AI have to say about high-speed gear? We'll see how accurate it is at the end of the section. You tell us if AI got it right or it didn't.
Cool.
So it says High Speed Gear HSG is a privately held company based in Swansboro, North Carolina, specializing in designing and manufacturing of tactical gear. Founded in 1999, started as a custom shop creating gear for Marines at nearby Camp Lejeune. Today, it stands as the largest full-time employer in Swansboro, employing approximately 11 people. HSGI is renowned for its innovative and durable products, including TACO, a line of pouches, and the Sure Grip padded belt. The company is headquarters. You can find that on the website, I'm sure. HSG has established itself as a trusted brand among professionals, with products endorsed by organizations such as Federal Law Enforcement Training Centers, Georgia Public Safety Training Center, National Tactical Officers Association, and the Department of Homeland Security.
How accurate?
All of that is correct. Besides the 11 employees.
I was about to say we got 20% of the company on the call right now. This is great.
The largest employer in the city, 11
like
people.
Swansboro, population 25. 11 of them work there.
That's why I kind of choked on it. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read
it."
If you could correct AI other than the 11, would there be anything you want to add to that, or you think they got it pretty good?
I think there's a strong component when it talks about, towards the end, federal law enforcement. There's a huge military component. Currently we're still doing custom gear for the Marines. Most recently, some NVG pouches. So our grassroots on where the company started 25 years ago is still what we do to this day. And that's what has given us the opportunity to grow into this huge company with 111 employees. So minor detail there, Chat GPT.
Matt, did you dyslexia that?
Oh, dude, I promise. Okay. I'll send you a screenshot. It says 11.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So, to loosen you guys up, we're going to do we kind of warned you on the front end. We're going to do a rapid fire. Since I'm the game show host on this, I'm just going to alternate, and I am going to I'll let you guys pick who's going first, or do y'all just want to answer together?
What do we win?
I think that blender Matt was reading about earlier. Yeah, it's got 5 speeds and a pulse or something. I don't know.
You said it was a game show. Don't you always win on The Price is Right?
No, you lose a lot of the time, and then you got to pay taxes on it. So it's really not worth winning at all. So because it's Cali.
We can spin them off at the same time and see how much of a difference there is.
Let's do it. Okay, so the rapid fire is brought to you by our friends over at Tipton, and I'm going to talk about the 360 gun vise. When you need a gun vise that can do it all, the Tipton Best Gun Vise 360 is your go-to tool. With 360-degree adjustable design, it gives you total flexibility to work on your firearm from any angle. Whether you're cleaning, assembling, or doing detailed repairs, this vise ensures that the gun is held securely without slipping or marring. Best Gun Vise 360 is built for shooters who demand precision and convenience in one powerful tool. So if you don't have a vise yet, that's the one you need. I love it. I use it almost daily. So let's go ahead and get to these rapid fire. These are so fun. So question 1, Molly or belt mounted?
Molly. Yeah.
Would you rather design and sell pouches for AK mags or weird bullpups?
AK
mags.
Yeah.
Favorite camo pattern?
Multicam.
SIG or Glock?
Glock.
SIG.
If you weren't in the firearms industry, you would be doing blank.
Security contracting.
There you go. Cool. Nice. Would you?
Everything else sounds boring.
Right? Yeah. Would you rather your battle belt squeak like leather boots, or jingle like keys?
Jingle.
Yeah, I think squeak for sure. Yeah.
One word to describe the gun industry.
Insane.
Dramatic.
Last time you cleaned your everyday carry.
Oh man.
Us too. Us too. That's all we need to know. That was
It's been a long time.
SHOT Show. Necessary evil or industry highlight?
Necessary evil.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you rather only have Velcro retention or shock cord for the rest of your life?
Oh
Shock
man.
cord. Shock cord.
We're going to have to say shock cord on that one for sure.
Best firearm trend in the last 5 years.
More people are using suppressors and flashlights on their rifles.
Love that.
Everyone got rid of robin's egg blue and pink guns.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
gosh.
That's you.
Oh, I love this. Would you rather wear a multicam suit or dress to a wedding or full kit to Sunday brunch?
Multicam dress to a wedding.
Yeah, full kit to Sunday brunch.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with the dress too.
Dang.
I mean, I'd rock it.
You would do it, yeah.
How many pouches are overkill?
15.
Love it.
Yeah. If it gets to the point to where you can't effectively use that.
What military movie got it right or at least close?
Jarhead.
None of them.
He walked around forever and didn't do anything. What gun or accessory would you hate to design a pouch for but still would?
Man.
You can say pass if you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where I would start with that.
We could design a pouch for anything, so that's hard.
Yeah.
All right. Worst person to be stuck in an elevator conversation with? Glock guy, HK guy, or AR guy?
HK guy. For sure.
No comment.
What's worse, cheap tourniquets or expired body armor?
Oh,
Cheap tourniquets.
yeah, for sure.
All right. And the last, what is worse, a slingless rifle or a holsterless pistol?
A slingless rifle.
Slingless rifle.
Yeah. All right. Well, see, you guys made it. It wasn't that bad.
$1.
Yes. Won $1.
Dollar,
Actually,
Bob.
you guys went over, so you lose nothing. All right. I love it. But yeah, it just kind of loosens the mood. It kind of lets you know, like, hey, you know, we can have a little fun, and we can just, you know, it's not always serious. But let's go ahead and talk about HSG and give us the backstory, if either of you can, on how HSG came to be.
So I'll go into that because I kind of touched on it a few minutes ago. But in 1999, we started out making custom gear for Marines. You know, we all know, any of us who have been in the military, we get issued some less than great gear from SIF.
Junk.
Yes. So, you know, how we started 25 years ago is still what we do to this day. So that can be anything from, you know, technology innovation. Currently, we just launched the MVG pouch for the Marine Corps. So a lot of the infantry battalions are super stoked about that because what they were issued with their MVGs is huge. It takes up so much space. It's not protecting the MVGs. And, you know, to try to get into them quickly, you don't want to have to fumble with your gear.
Yeah.
But, you know, in a matter of 2 weeks, our design team came up with a solution. The Marines came down, they geeked out in the Stark Industries room that we have. And we solve it because at the end of the day, that's where we started and what we want to continue to do. So in addition to all that work with the Marine Corps, we do a lot with Border Patrol, Homeland Security. We're working with Army Innovation Labs now on some drone pouch solutions. We all know tech is going to be the future.
Yeah.
Man,
So
it is. It already is, unfortunately.
yes.
God, there's too many videos of those guys running away from drones, and I would hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's everything from heat signatures to being able to quickly deploy medical contents into theater where you don't want to send real humans. There's so many solutions that we're working with so many of our partners on because that's what matters. What we do matters. And making sure that the guys out there doing the real jobs, whether it's military, law enforcement, patrol cops, SWAT teams, Border Patrol, whatever you're doing, you need to be able to rely on your gear. And we take that very seriously at High Speed Gear. So it kind of comes down to our favorite question. When someone needs a solution, we ask them, tell us how much your gear sucks right now.
Yeah.
And when we know how much of a problem it is for you, then we know where we can go to try to solve it for you. We don't want to copy what anybody else has done because it's not working.
Right.
So we want to come up with a new way that's faster, easier, smarter, smaller, easy to deploy, lasts a long time, which is why we offer lifetime warranty. We can because we overbuild the gear.
Man.
Anything you want to add, John?
I'm right there with you. I mean, especially the last part, like she was saying, there's situations you're going to find yourself in where your gear is going to get beat up, and we still cover it. And I think that speaks volumes to the products that people.
I find it interesting, and maybe you guys know this answer. Most of the gear companies, I won't name the other names, but most of the gear companies, they all start with an idea, and it's mostly it happens in theater when there's a guy who just hates the gear he's got, or a gal, and just not happy with what things are doing. And so like they start modifying. And were things like the taco, were things like that, was that kind of the inception? Was there a guy at one point that was just like, this stuff sucks and I got to build something? Or was this something done in, by a civilian that just met the need?
It was civilians who started it, but the way they started it was exactly what you're saying. Guys would come home from deployment and say, oh my gosh, if I have to pull out one more zip tie, or if I have to take one more yard of bungee, I'm going to lose it. I need a pouch to stay where I put it. I need it to be mounted on a Molly platform, and I need it to be there when I need to reload, period.
I love that though, because it's also refreshing to hear, because the story, the inception starts a little different. Everybody else's story starts with, so I had to go ask to go into the parachute repair room again, and I had to use their sewing machine, and I had to do all this stuff. And like, you hear that story, and not that it's a broken record. I think it's great. Just, ingenuity and innovation from humans is just cool. But to have a civilian side step up and, meet the need, that's just really cool to say, hey, you know what, we got you. And I love that.
100%.
Yeah. So most of our listeners, if you haven't heard of the Taco Mag, you've been living under a rock. But tell everybody a little bit more about these awesome things.
I mean, right off the get-go, they're a universal pouch. So if you have AK mags, if you have large caliber like battle rifles, your 308, stuff like that, and of course your normal AR mags are going to fit that pouch. And pretty much any rifle magazine that's you can stuff in it, it's going to fit it, and it's going to maintain retention because of the plastic tabs on the side, and that it's because of the bungee. So that bungee with that shot cord tab on the back or on the front, depending on what version you have, allows you to adjust that tension. So you're in the clear for whatever you want to put in it.
Yeah, and it's interesting just looking at the innovation on it. It's a complex design, but a simple design. And thinking of the shot cord as the elastic, as the bungee starts to wear, you can actually cinch this up a little bit more and a little bit
100%.
more
Yep.
if it stretches out. And I think that's really cool. And then if you got to the point where you had to relace it, I'd probably have to watch a YouTube video, but I guess if I learned it once or twice, I could probably, sling this up again and get it back up and running like it was brand new.
It's harder than it looks.
I would think so. I'd probably have to go to the parachute room, but needle, but I think, or something to shove down in there, but I think I could make it. It would take a little time.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this, but actually the way that bungee is woven is really strategic. So when you tighten a taco, for example, the one you have in your hand, when you tighten, you want to pull the bungee at the bottom, not that tab, just on the sides. You want to pull and tighten those, and you want to work your way up to the top and then cinch down the bottom.
I always explain it like tying your shoelaces. So
I wear Velcro, so there it is.
Do they light up too?
Yes, they do. They do, and they've got the wheels too. So if I'm trying to show off, I can just skate up. How you doing?
What type
that's one of those things too, especially with the bungee. That's one of those things that we'll replace. If you find yourself in that position where that snaps on you, we got you.
That's amazing. I've seen some of them tied back together. I've seen lots of them with lots of crazy use. That's like, what are you doing? Like that thing's still together. Like guys just diving prone on their chest and their belts, and like there's huge gouges in them, but they're still there holding mags, and they're tying bungees back together in a knot and strapping them down. It's a pretty iconic piece of small gear, I think, in the industry, and of course has been copied and duplicated by everybody else since. Like there's countless counterfeits out there, and it's because that design, that system obviously works pretty freaking well. It just to the degree of which you're able to discuss, but like, can you guys give a rundown of some of the professional users of the taco product?
The Marine Corps right off the bat. That's they're now issued magazine pouches are tacos. So a lot of the pictures you're seeing coming out where guys are, tying stuff together, those are those grunts who are just putting in the mileage on those products, and eventually, they reach their limit. Even those
poor guys.
Yeah. But yeah, the Marine Corps right off the bat. That's a big one.
And it's a big one.
Yeah. It's also into LEO as well, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I would say, between state and local agencies, all the way to federal law enforcement, U.S. Marshals, Border Patrol, Bureau of Prisons, it's really actually kind of fun to see, if you turn on the news today, you're seeing tacos all over. All the Border Patrol, ICE agents, HSI, you can see OD Green tacos all over these guys, which is a proud moment for us. But, when you think about the taco is the iconic high-speed gear product. It's what we started with 25 years ago, and now we have the Gen 2 taco line, we have the Duty taco line, we have the Polymer taco line. It has continued to blow up into 2,000 SKUs of taco mag pouches. But in addition to that, a lot of our customers over the years have said, I love your tacos. I've had my kit for 9 years. Can you make us something else? Can you make this? Can you make admin pouches? Can you make operator belts? Can you make all these other things? So where the product started as a taco, and then it turned into a Sure Grip padded battle belt. Then it turned into operator belts and med pouches, IFAC bags, just so many different pouches and belt. Yep, there it is. There's the Reflex IFAC. Yep. Fun fact about the Reflex, from product inception, that was built with influence from Army medics, and that fits everything that they're issued for medical contents. And for an Army issued IFAC. And from its inception, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that product alone had the highest sales velocity straight out of the gate.
Yeah, here I got one right here.
Wow, it's interesting because I'm glad that somebody's actually talking about medical, because once you get to the the civilian world, nobody talks about medical. Everybody just talks about everything else. So
right there.
So John's kit.
Oh man, yours is. You've already got your stuff in yours.
Oh yeah.
I haven't done anything to mine yet. I haven't put this one on the belt yet. I won't tell you guys what my belt was, but I'm going to put this on my belt for sure.
There you go.
Well, I know you're going to have a high-speed gear operator belt now.
Yeah, I will. I will for sure.
Yeah.
I will definitely. So I do want to go back though to the military and the law enforcement. So what I find that's really cool is that doing some research and looking at some things, you guys really do, which is, I guess, customer service 101 is what you would think it is, but you guys actually do listen to your end users. You guys listen to, your law enforcement, your Border Patrol guys, your Marines, your military members, and you listen and you hear where your product excels. You hear where people wish it could be better. You hear where gear that they were using wasn't up to par. And from that, you guys call an audible, and you make a revision, or you bring out a different product line to say, well, this will meet that need. And I think that's super important, because in the day and age of, hey, we make this, you need to learn to work around this. It's refreshing to see still to this day that there are some workarounds that are being done to make life easier. Like you said, with the night vision pouch, it's, hey, we get it. That thing that they have. Did it work? Yeah. Did it do the job that it was asked to do? Yeah. But is it the job that really needed to be done? Because I think what a lot of people miss is what the design or what the want from the military, from the brass wants, is sometimes a little different than what the boots on the ground want. And in theory, it sounds really good. The top dog saying, hey, we need this. Oh, it sounds great. And then you roll it out and the guys are like, what is this? So,
well, I can tell you that happens all the time. And
yeah.
nine times out of 10, it's price point. High-speed gear is not cheap. And we know that. And we're proud to not be cheap because we're going to make you a product that's going to last. It is going to go through thick and thin with you. You're going to be deployed, or you're going to be in an alley as a SWAT team member, putting handcuffs on a bad guy. And we want you to be able to reach for your handcuffs, and they're going to be there. And you're going to be able to get them out of your pouch without struggling while you're trying to fight a guy that's high on drugs. So at the end of the day, it's really important to us. It's something we take seriously. And when you think about the OG taco line, it was great. It still is great. People love OG tacos. I love seeing, some of these ugly ass camo patterns from 20 years ago that people are collecting. Don't look in John's closet. He's got all kinds of things. But if the apocalypse comes,
the good old vintage stuff over there, John. I said, you got the good vintage stuff over there, John?
Oh yeah.
all the rare camo patterns.
All right, Allison, since you brought that up, I don't know, we're going to add the 21st question to the rapid fire. What is the worst pattern that you think the taco came in? Now, this is just your preference, has nothing to do with anything else.
Highlander.
Do you have that one, John?
No. I do not.
See that one. I wanted to see it. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, I'll have
He
to
wouldn't
look it
tell
up.
you if he did.
I'll have to look it up.
The red, white, and blue taco is definitely my favorite, though. That one's cool.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
America taco.
But, it comes down to, we have the OG taco. And then a lot of law enforcement, specifically out in Seattle, there was an agency that called us and was like, we love your tacos, but we're constantly getting rained on. Nylon sucks. As much as it repels water, after getting rained on and after being in this wet moisture for so long, like it ends up being a problem. So that's where we developed the Poly Taco line, which is basically polymer tacos woven with the bungee. So you get even more moisture resistance, which is nice and easy for guys that are getting rained on trying to do their job outside. So, and then the Gen 2 taco line, everybody loves this laser cut look, right? We talk about trends in the industry. Everybody's going laser cut. It's like next gen, cool looking. And then the number one gripe, nobody's perfect. We're humble enough to say Gen 1 OG tacos, they're not perfect. They're cool as shit, but they're not perfect. The number one gripe was, okay, if I want to belt mount these things, here I am struggling with Molly to try to belt mount, or I'm trying to rig this differently. So what do the Gen 2 tacos do? Well, they have mini Molly on the back, which gives you a perfect secure fit on a Molly Pals platform, but it also gives you a really tight fit no matter what size belt you're mounting to. So there we go. We solved the mounting issue on the Gen 2 tacos. So when people call us and say, hey, I don't like this about your gear, we love those phone calls. Our designers will go crazy over a tell us how much it sucks phone call. So we always encourage everyone, tell us what you love, but tell us what you hate too.
That's what makes you better. I mean, it's like, to be in this industry, you got to have some thick skin because you're providing products to the guys that will break the rubber, the steel ball with the rubber mallet. Like if it's out there, the military is going to break it. So,
but there's a lot of brands, they're not open to that. They say that's what we designed and you're going to like it. And when people say it sucks, they're going to criticize you for saying it sucks instead of saying, tell us more. We want to solve that for you.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, though.
I think that's pretty standard across all kinds of industries. Like a lot of people are pretty close-minded in receiving feedback about their product, which, if you worked hard on something and you do provide a nice product, I can understand how on a personal level that might hurt your feelings. But the criticism's going to breed innovation, and innovation from you guys, and then innovation from competitors makes for a really amazing buyer's market. So
That's everybody's best friend. Innovation is everyone's best friend, except for the manufacturer. Except for the manufacturer. You guys got to compete with everybody else, but the end user, I mean, we're swimming in it. We love it. Like we get the choice of we get the pick of the litter.
So there's a difference between a guy calling us and saying, you know, I really wish you sold this in lime green. You guys suck. You're not selling it in the right color. But, you know, those guys will say, okay, well, maybe you should be buying some airsoft looking stuff, you know? But if someone calls us and says, hey, I really need to be able to mount my tourniquet to this, is there a way we can do that? That's what we want to know. That's what we want to hear, because we want to make our soldiers or our law enforcement more lethal. If there's ways we can make things better, we want to know about it.
Yeah.
So let's touch on that real quick. Let's say that there is a large, you know, a portion, a branch of the military or a special team or a police department that has a need for a new pouch or a new piece of gear that that won't fit in an existing pouch. Talk a little bit about that design and consultation and innovative process, and how it goes from, you know, from, hey, on a phone call or an email to ending up on production line.
So a lot of times, well, I'll say probably 50%. Maybe John will have a better number because he takes more phone calls than I do from our Marines and soldiers and law enforcement guys out there. But I would say about half the time when guys call us or email us, we already have a solution. They just don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
Or, you know, there's a lot of law enforcement guys that are using our rifle taco for a cell phone pouch. So, you know, oftentimes there's already a solution, but we just like to get creative. And then we'll do what Mike's doing is we'll run back there in the factory, take a taco off a sewing machine that someone just made and try to put all these different things in it. And we'll call the customer back and say, it works. But,
but I had to have the big screen because I'm old. My eyes are bad, but you know, the other stuff works.
Yeah. But in the event that we don't have a pouch or a belt or a plate carrier solution, what we encourage customers to do is give us a call, email us. A lot of times, some of these ideas will already be in the hopper. They could be in work. Most times, believe it or not, before High Speed Gear comes out with a product to the public, it's often in R&D for 2 years. The reflex pouch that we touched on earlier, there were 32 renditions of that pouch before our designer, Daniel, said, hey, what do you think about this? I think we're ready to launch. Because all of our gear is tested with MARSOC Marines, with federal law enforcement, with FLETC, with Chicago police officers. We're talking guys out in the field that go and test this stuff for us and say, hey, this is great, but, or hey, this is what I ran into. Or hey, when I was trying to deploy the medical pouch, you know, my other hand was tied up because I was holding the cuffs on a guy. So, okay, we need to make sure everything's ambidextrous, especially if it's medical. So it's a really easy process. I like to tell everyone that all of us at High Speed Gear are just buddies. We're all dudes. Call us. Tell us what you need. And sometimes we have it already, but sometimes we invite you in, you know, especially the Marines. You know, if you're not stationed here in North Carolina, oftentimes you're coming here for different exercises or training. Come on in. We're happy to show behind the curtain and say, hey, we want to take care of you. We want to know your gear needs. Give us a shot. So,
but you know, it's 2025 and we just can't have a product that works. Like it's got to be boosted. You know what I mean? That shit's got to look good. So, I mean, really, like, oh yeah, that works, but I don't want that on my belt. I don't want to carry that. Like it's ugly. So, like, how do you guys balance? Because there has to be a balance, because you can make something that just plain out works and it can be ugly. You can also make something that is the most attention grabbing, eye drawing piece of kit that's out there and it not work. So you got to play that balance. And how does High Speed Gear play that balance to where first and number one, and I know the answer, number one, it has to work regardless of what it, if it doesn't work, you're not going to make it. But so you get it to the 15-yard line. It works. Now that last 15 yards, it's just style points. It's got to look good. How do you guys balance that, or is that even a thing?
It's a thing, especially for our gear queers out there.
Mhm.
But,
I'm liking you more and more. Like,
I'm just saying, Allison's cool, my book.
like yeah. The Marines
but
out in this lady, and I love it.
She has a favorite color crayon too, I bet.
it's green, actually. I like sour
Oh,
apple. Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
All right.
But, first and foremost, it has to perform. There is no point in having that medical IFAC pouch on your belt if it's not going to perform. And if you want it to be sexy, we'll put the sexy sprinkles on it. But it's probably going to happen at the 5-yard line, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So first and foremost, it has to function, it has to perform, and it has to be super high quality. And sometimes, I see from a lot of brands out there in the industry, there's a lot of good looking gear out there. But go run that for 5 weeks and tell me what it looks like after a few weeks. Tell me what it looks like after you've played with it a little bit. All of a sudden it's drooping, or, it's hardly even mounted to your belt anymore, or it's a total pain in the ass because you can only get to it from the left side.
Mhm.
Well, what about when you're doing a prone position? You're going to be in a different spot. So it's got to function. It's got to be perfect. And then we're going to try to put some, we say the sex appeal factor.
Mhm.
But there's also a component that comes to it, from inception. So for example, the MVG pouch for the Marine Corps price point was an absolute must hit. So if we would have had 25, 35 more dollars to play with, we could have made that thing really good looking. But the Marine Corps came to us, and we call them the gunner gods, right? The Marine Corps infantry gunners, they come to us and they say, we need this, but this is how much we can pay per pouch, or it's not going to happen. Okay.
Right.
Well, tell us what you need and what parameters we need to make sure that fits. And we're going to make sure we deliver. So the MVG pouch is a price point focused OEM project for the Marine Corps. So when we know up front from a customer what you need, and if price point is a thing, or if sex appeal is a thing, or if ambidextrous is a thing, if we know what your hot button is, we're going to make sure we hit that, no matter what it is in that realm.
Yeah, I love that. And so in industry wide, additive printing, 3D printing is blowing up. It's going like crazy. Do you guys, have you guys found the need yet for additive printing or any of the 3D print stuff? And if so, even if it's not in the standard manufacturing process, is that helping you guys, or at least your designers, go from, pencil sketch or, CAD drawing, 3D, whatever, rendering, to a rudimentary touch it, hold it, feel it type product?
For sure. Yeah, especially with our holster brands. So, as you know, High Speed Gear, we started 25 years ago making nylon gear, but about 7 years ago, we purchased Comtac holsters. And then 2 years ago, we purchased Black Point Tactical and Crucial Concealment. So, High Speed Gear Products Group is actually 4 brands, 3 of which are Kydex holster brands, and then we have our nylon flagship brand. So, especially in the holster space, we use 3D printing all the time for prototypes.
Mm-hmm.
It is the fastest way to take a CAD drawing, a cool idea, a new make and model that is specific to X, Y, and Z. It's the fastest way to come up with something to just start looking at. Or, okay, now we know what holster we want to go with, or what design we want to go with. Now we want to play with aesthetics. Well, 3D printing is the way to do that before you cut steel for molds, right? So I would say definitely. I mean, tech is becoming a thing in all of our processes, but I mean, even in what we're making products for, I never thought there would be a day that we would get asked for holsters that are compatible with suppressors. And that question's coming up every week now.
That still blows my mind. That still blows my mind. Other than the cool guys doing the cool thing at one point, like it's, for the civilian market, I look at it like, man, if you want a suppressor holster, like you need a new hobby.
You're John Wick.
Yeah, you need a new hobby because you're definitely a try hard. Like, come out of your mom's. Like, don't get me wrong, I like shooting pistols with suppressors, but I'm not gonna carry one, and I'm not gonna train with one. I'm just gonna shoot it and say, oh yeah,
that was fun. Yeah.
This was so fun.
Yeah.
We're not.
I mean, it goes back to that idea of like, someone reaches out to us and they got a genuine, need, we'll figure it out, man.
So course, now I'm sure I know you guys made it. I saw it on your feed. You know, you guys had to meet the need of like the Zen daddies. But other than the Zen daddies, what's the weirdest, or is that it? What's the weirdest pouch you guys have had to make?
That's the weirdest for me.
Yeah.
I think so.
It started as a joke, to be honest with you, Mike.
Yeah,
So
look what you did.
we had a law enforcement officer call us and say, man, I wish you had a dip can pouch. And we were like, shit, we'll make one.
Yeah, I bet he was from my state, Tennessee. You know, he had to be.
I think he was, actually.
Well, I'm saying, like, yeah, that's man. Don't mess with the dip can. Like,
so believe it or not, to go back to your 3D printer question, we actually made one in the printer. And a couple days later, we sent it to this guy. He was ecstatic. He went crazy about it. Next thing you know, we're getting phone calls. Agencies are like, hey, our sheriff doesn't allow tobacco use in uniform, but we're using these grinds coffee pouches, or we're using these there's like all kinds. Yeah.
Jerky. Yeah, they're all lying. It's tobacco, but they're saying it's these are the grinds. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the funniest one for me, because it started as a joke, and now, I mean, that's our top selling pouch to Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.
Of course it is.
I bet they sell the crap out of those in this country.
They do.
Of course. Yeah. Get the medical pouch. Give me the Zen pouch. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Way to go, guys. Way to go. Cheers.
Nothing a little nicotine can't fix. Look.
Yeah.
That is absolutely hilarious. So speaking of the Zen pouch and the Zen daddies and all of that stuff, when it comes to pouches, whether it's your pouch or not, what do you think what is the standard or the advice that you guys both carried it. What's the standard that's most overhyped when it comes to gear? Like, it's got to be blank. Is there something that comes to mind? Because I'll tell you now, with my stuff, I'm not going to name names because I'm not doing that stuff. But when it comes to that, the stuff I have is it's got the Kydex on the inside. So it kind of does the click lock. It's a cool design, but I'm not a cool guy doing cool stuff, and I'm just basically a fat guy LARPing in his backyard. So what's it matter? Let's just be real. It's called spade a spade. But it's when it shut up, Matt. But when it comes down,
it's so true though.
Damn, you called me fat. Then
I didn't call you fat.
You just said it was true. You just said it was true. But what is the most overhyped? What is the most overhyped? I guess advice that you get when you get into the tactical gear stuff.
Oh man.
I mean, it could be, hey, this famous guy made this pouch and endorsed this thing, and so that's the thing that you have to run. Not talking about anybody in particular, but there's a lot of people that come to mind when you say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think with that, look at John laughing.
Yeah.
I think with that, it really truly is a user preference. If that's why I don't like signature edition rifles or signature edition pistols or signature edition anything, even down to cars. Like, I don't drive a car like Jack Roush. I don't run a kit like this person. I don't run a signature rifle like this person. Like, that's what they want. I want what's universal so I can fit it and configure it to myself.
Right.
Yeah, I think I guess I'll spin off your question a little bit. What I don't like is when everybody's hating on everyone else for how they set up their kit.
Yeah.
Right. Because like you said, it's personal preference. And there's a lot of hate, especially on socials, where people are like, why would you have your mags over there? Blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, let's talk about all the shooters that, are right-handed pistol shooters, but left-handed rifle shooters. Maybe you're left eye dominant in some cases, but other cases you're not. I mean, whatever makes you the most deadly, that's you. That's on you. Like, set up your kit, what's convenient for you, what's comfy for you, what you can do in the dark, and it's muscle memory. Like, I guess for me, that the most overhyped thing is that everybody has to be set up like a cookie cutter way, and that's not true.
Yeah.
What I set up my kit, because I'm a female, I'm different. I have a smaller frame, my hips are different, so my battle belt sits differently than what John's does. John's a huge dude. You probably can't tell on the screen, but he's like 7 feet tall and this wide. So, you know, he can fit a shit ton of gear on his belt. So,
What a marine comment too. Oh, he's big. He can carry more stuff.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So you really put Skittles in the Skittles pouch, and then everybody just calls you fat. So
no, those go in the cargo pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a pouch called a Togi pouch.
look, if I can fit without it melting, if I can put like the Snickers ice cream bar in this, like, bro, I'm in. Like,
I see it all the time. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I'm gonna send you some photos.
Yeah.
we're gonna do some collabs. This is gonna be great.
So a lot of our Instagram lives or TikToks, regrettably, there's a lot of TikToks about like what fits in the taco, right? So, you know, Jay Sheets, our sales manager in Swansboro, he was upside down twerking on TikTok to show the retention of our taco mag pouches.
Yeah.
You know, Tabasco sauce, Snicker bars, pistols, OC sprays, multi-tools, everything that can fit in that thing, it's going to work. So, you know, oftentimes there's this misconception, like if there's not over the top retention, that it's not going to hold in your gear. But
yeah, I was going to go that direction with that overhyped topic. Was I think over the top retention on a lot of magazine pouches is unnecessary if they'll properly.
I'm not doing cartwheels.
Yeah. So I think that would be my biggest gripe. But
I was going to ask you, is there a trend that needs to go away, and is that the trend?
Over the top retention. I think that'd be a good one. Or the interior plastic that is in a lot of nylon products now, how that's exposed. That drives me crazy. I think you could look like you're trying to put carbon fiber on your first car. But I'm
gonna have to show you my kit offline, and you're gonna have to rate.
I think that drives me nuts. But
oh shit!
I think overall, over top retention on magazine pouches. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to get my man Matt. I'm gonna have to bring him over to the dark side, because this dude shoots a smooth bore. Like, this son of a bitch runs an AK. So like, those things don't count. They're smooth bore and inaccurate. But you know,
so there's a big joke on
when
socials.
he runs. But when he runs a kit, he runs like the leather, like com block type shit. I'm like, what? Like, no.
I don't have any more leather on my belt.
Tacos fit AK mags.
I do.
So
I know that. I know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a big joke. It's been running on socials like since social media was a thing. No joke. Every single day of High Speed Gear life on social media, do we get asked the question either via DM or on a comment? Do tacos fit AK mags? So oftentimes you'll see us respond to these things as a joke, or we'll say, you know, a little bit of a passive aggressive response like, and yes, for those who are wondering, tacos fit AK mags.
I will tell you, as someone who has used tacos and AK mags, in the like the locking lug on the AK mag, if you run them upside down in the taco, it like hooks right under that little side plastic. So freaking nice. And I've sprinted with them in, like they don't go anywhere, but if you give them a good jerk, they come right out like they're supposed to. But I've had really good success.
I have that bungee on them too. You can just stick your thumb and pull out.
Yep.
It'll make it super
and
easy.
It is tight. Yeah, when they come, they definitely are more configured to probably fit more like an AR mag. But yeah, if you give them a good stretch, they'll take AK mags pretty good. I've enjoyed using them and never any problem with them falling out.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to go into some trending stuff, and I want to ask you guys, in your opinion, so you guys used to have to carry this stuff for a living, and now you carry it when you feel like it, or you collect the old stuff. What piece of kit, when it comes to the things you offer, what is the most underrated in your opinion? I think medical, just because once you get out of the military and the Leo, when you get to the civvy world and everybody wants to be cool guy, it's cool until you get to medical, and then like you get some band-aids and like that's it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Definitely medical.
I would say even like, I mean, some of the products too, like our mini map pouch, or like the one that I was about to mention earlier, the Pogi pouch, just those simple pouches, those GP style pouches that are often overlooked. But when it comes down to carrying literally anything other than ammunition, that's what you're going to need. And people often overlook that kind of stuff, whether or not their mission set demands that, but it's often overlooked. And like with civilians, when they get out or of the military or out of their, first responder lifestyle, then their mission set changes from providing care to protecting. So, but those two things go hand in hand. So I guess it just depends. But
that makes sense. It's interesting because I like watching, there's very good content on the internet when it comes to new people, as far as, hey, how should I build my battle belt? Hey, how should I configure my plate carrier? And they're great starter points. And if you're a person that's just building a bug out bag and you don't go practice and you don't do anything, like, I don't know, whatever, just follow YouTube and do whatever works for you. But the better answer is to find a starting point where you feel the most comfortable, and then use your gear and burn your gear up and try to basically break your gear. Not intentionally, but if you're training enough, you're going to put it through its runs, and you're going to find, hey, maybe I need to move this, 1 molly over. Maybe I need to raise this up a bit. Maybe I need to put this here instead of that. And Allison, kind of piggybacking off what you said earlier, the industry slamming people for, hey, this doesn't go there and this doesn't, if you're a soldier and you're told, hey, this is where this goes and this is where that goes, I mean, you kind of do what you say. But once you get in the civvy world and it's yours for when whatever hits the fan, like, you definitely need to be, or you're just going to the range to shoot and do some competitions. Configure that thing to what is best for you and what's going to give you the best chances of success, whatever success means. I mean, that's kind of what I.
Yeah, no. And for me, I think the most underrated component of gear is the ride height adjustability. So especially for, I was air wing, so I didn't use a lot of hard charging gear like John and a lot of infantry guys do. But I can just tell you from civilian life, like my husband, he's a retired law enforcement officer. So he would take me to the range and try to do drills. And like, most of the times when you're going to have to draw and fire your weapon, you're going to be under a lot of stress. Well, I can hit the target all day long if I'm calm and cool and focused and doing my thing at the range. But when you're timing me, when you're putting stress on me, when you're running at me, when you're giving me all these other factors for my brain to realize, I need to be able to function.
It's different.
It's very different. And the first time he showed me that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like in the Marine Corps, I can shoot rifles all day long. Shooting with a pistol is a different thing. Shooting with a pistol under pressure when your adrenaline's running is a totally different thing too. So the ride height adjustability on my frame specifically, with the Gen 2 tacos, my kit, I like to wear my tacos a little lower. So I don't have to like awkwardly reach into mags. So the ride height adjustability with the mini molly is super underrated. Nobody uses that. And maybe a lot of guys don't have to. But if you have a smaller torso or you're a female, it's a huge game changer when all of a sudden that muscle memory of like just drawing and reloading and, if you don't have to like awkwardly reach into things, total game changer.
Especially with like law enforcement officers too, when they have to get in and out of their vehicle, and some pouches might dig into their hip while they're driving. But they still need to be able to have access to, a pistol, magazine or whatever, and they can totally adjust that ride height for sure.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, talking about the difference, and it's so crazy because even though it's the same wheelhouse, the requirements are so different when it gets to military versus law enforcement. And so it's, with the military, it's it's one requirement and it's one, you know, one way of going about things. And then with the law enforcement, it's, hey, everything you're carrying similarly is on your belt, is on your person, but it's configured different because you're, you know, 80% of the time you're spent driving the vehicle, and, you know, things have to sit a certain way so you can do that job. But when shit hits the fan, that other 20%, everything has to be right where you're at. And I see the point with the mini molly where you can adjust your ride height. If you're reaching, and yeah, you can get your cuffs this way, but if it's more comfortable just a little bit lower, and you can adjust that ride height a littlest bit. I mean, if it makes you better,
a difference.
If it makes you better, it makes you better. I don't know.
And over the years, a lot of that adoption of high-speed gear into law enforcement is because all of these Marines and soldiers and sailors, they get out of the military and then they go into law enforcement. And they know what gear works good. And specifically in law enforcement, they get, you want to talk about getting issued shit gear.
Yeah.
We're talking like Chinese made $12 pouches that a lot of these agencies are making their guys wear. And we're talking guys in Chicago. That's a war zone there.
Yeah.
They need good equipment. So, you know, there's been a huge adoption of good quality, very compliant, USA made, expensive gear. But my favorite thing ever is for a guy to call and say, hey, he'll send us a picture or email us, or he'll say, you know, I've been running my kit for 9 years and I lost the little bungee retention clip on the back. And we see this picture. This gear it is beat to shit. It looks like it looks like he took it out to the parking lot and ran over it and scraped it against the concrete. And I mean, he's been running this kit for nearly a decade, but he loves his gear. He trusts his gear. He does not want a replacement. He wants us to help him fix it. It's like my favorite thing to see.
It's a worn-in pair of boots, man. It really is. It really is. It's funny though, because thinking about my recollections, growing up, I was born, well, I say 70s baby. I was born in 79, but basically I remember just very vividly, my father still alive, but he was law enforcement. He retired. And I just remember the only requirement for law enforcement in Nashville at the time, I don't know if this was the rule or not, but like if it wasn't patent leather, like it wasn't compliant, like everything.
Believe it or not, that's still a thing. Some places.
It's so horrible. Like
it's horrible.
It's horrible. Like it has to be patent leather, and it's got the little straps that are basically the equivalent of like what you would snap down with a tarp. And you're like, what kind of retention is that? And there's no retention, but it just has to look good. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's what they're going for. Is just that look, that classic law enforcement look.
It's horrible.
It's weird.
It looks sharp. You know, you look good when you're pulling people over on the side of the road, but it's not the best piece of kit for the mission set.
No, especially when it comes to belts. You know, when you look at these guys, you know, my husband being one of them, before I started working at High Speed Gear, he wore a 2-inch belt, had terrible lumbar back issues from sitting in patrol cars and like serving warrants and 70 pounds of gear. And like, it's so taxing on your body for year after year after year. And we switched him into a High Speed Gear operator belt. Back problems went away in 45 days. Now, I have no medical proof to tell you this belt solved his back problems, but I can tell you from years of this guy doing that job, and all of a sudden his back problems go away because he has the comfort of a good quality belt. It changes the game. A 2-inch leather belt hitting all of your tendons and hip bones for 12 hours a day for a 20-year law enforcement career. It's no wonder these guys are miserable. They're hurting. And instead of chiefs and sheriffs worrying about how guys look, I'm sorry, but you can't chase a bad guy in core frame shoes. You have to wear good gear. So, you know, we're starting to see some agencies move. You know, state and local agencies still have a lot of work to do to take care of their guys. But, you know, especially in federal law enforcement, we're seeing the movement. They're starting to worry about good quality gear, making sure these guys can do their job. So,
well, John, I wanted to ask you. So basically now, Allison referenced it earlier, talking about how, hey, our stuff isn't cheap and we don't intend for it to be cheap as far as, and when I say cheap, I mean, as far as price point goes, it doesn't mean quality. I mean inexpensive. Your stuff is not inexpensive. But when it comes to that, you know, customers expect a certain value when they buy something, to their own fault. They expect, you know, and I guess to their own, you know, they have their own reasons why it should, but everybody thinks that it's a fix all. If I buy one thing, it should be suitable for everything that I do. And that's not always the case. But I guess in your mind, and then Allison, I want to hear your point on this too. John, what do you think that modular really means in 2025?
Modular?
Yeah.
It means adaptability. So it means being able to change your kit, being able to change the things that you have to better suit your mission set. So if you're, going back to the price point, if a $50 pouch is going to give you the capability. So going back to like things that should go away as well is just investing into toys, basically. You should be investing into capabilities. And if you're investing in capabilities with your kit, that kit should be able to do multiple things for you, regardless of the price point, right? And that's the great thing about taco pouches. They're going to be, if you're running your AK one day, you can still use it. If you're running a DMR one day, you can still use it. And to a certain point, there should be some adaptability or modularity between pieces of your kit and the items that you need. But there are instances when you need that specific piece of kit that is going to support you in a very specific way. So
I think that hits the nail on the head. Allison, what about you?
No, I totally agree with John. But I also think, you know, when it comes to, Mike, you mentioned law enforcement. You know, when my husband Kevin was still a cop, he had his law enforcement belt, but then he would have his belt that he'd wear to the range, or for, you know, if shit hit the fan, home defense belt, you know. So there comes a point where, yes, modularity is a thing, but there also needs to be maybe some delineation between, okay, what am I going to use this for versus what am I going to use that for? So, you know, for me specifically, I used to have two belts depending on what I was going to go to the range and shoot, because I wasn't infantry. I didn't use this gear. You know, I was air wing. We didn't worry about shooting guns every day. We worried about getting birds in the air. But, you know, when it comes to like just as a civilian, responsibly armed citizen, I think, you know, I navigate basically what I'm going to wear on my kit, depending on what I'm going to shoot that day. But,
right.
You know, when you talk about competitive shooters or law enforcement, military, whether you're border patrol or whether you're a SWAT team member, there's going to be different needs to all of those different roles and professions. And there's also going to be a difference between a Chicago PD or a LAPD or NYPD SWAT officer, and a small town Swansboro SWAT officer. You know, totally different. So I think, yes, modularity is a thing. And I think being more capable with, you know, the kit that you're most trained with is important. But I also think sometimes you kind of need a couple different kits if you're really looking to excel in what you're going to be doing.
I agree.
Just at least have the capability of adjusting your kit based off of what your mission is, you know?
Yeah.
Could be protecting your home, could be, you know, that dude going overseas, could be that law enforcement officer who's pulling someone over, just whatever they need to do. It needs to.
Do you guys think that maybe the consumer, maybe especially the civilian consumer, expects too much from one item?
Yes.
Sometimes, yeah. I think so.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I say 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. How come this taco mag pouch can't hold a rifle? Or how come it's not a holster?
Because it's a mag pouch. Did they try putting the magazine in there with the rifle on it, on the magazine? That might work.
Yeah. I could see a lot of things like when you're looking at it like, hey, it's just fabric, shot cord, and, you know, some molly. Like, it's not that hard. Why can't it do? So, you know, when they're not happy, they can dumb it down and say that, you know, the technology and the modularity is non-existent when they're mad. But when they actually use it for different purposes and different setups on their kit, this is the best thing I've ever had. So, I mean, I think
simplicity is its genius. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the consumer market is the hardest market because the consumer market is always the not good enough. If it's $55 for something, you know, there's going to be a percentage of that crowd that is very happy with it, but there's going to be a percentage that is not happy that it's not $50. Like, yeah, it's good, but it'll be better at 50. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know. We're just, as humans, I don't know. We're unfortunately trained to, it's never good enough. And I hate that mentality. I try not to fall victim to it, but you know, it is what it is. It's just part of who we are. Unfortunately.
No, I think when it comes down to like a lot of our team members, you know, they've worked for other brands like firearms manufacturers or other gear companies. A lot of our sales team or business development team, when they're at trade shows, the number one thing I hear is we never hear anything bad about our gear. And, you know, yes, that's a good thing, but sometimes we want to hear like, what do you not like? We want to know what else we can make. We love those phone calls or emails when people say, hey, this is great, but if it could do X, Y, and Z, that'd be great too. But it also can't be unrealistic, and it's not set up for, you know, airsoft or, you know, whatever playing around people are going to be doing. This is real operator equipment.
Yeah.
And you know, most customers of high speed gear are not your LARPers. You know, most customers of high speed gear are true operators, or they're retired operators, or they're a cop during the day. They have to wear this patent leather kit for work, but they hate it. So now they know what good gear feels like. And good gear feels like gear you can trust. And we hear that day after day. And yes, there's a ton of other places all of us could go work. You know, John could have had 19 other opportunities. I could have had other opportunities, but we choose to do this because we know it matters. When you have to reload, you have to trust your mag pouch. It's a simple thing. It's just a mag pouch, but it has to be there. It has to be good quality, and you have to be able to trust it. And that's important.
Man, you hit that in the head.
I want to ask because I actually am going to reuse the term that I learned earlier today, gear queers. So that's pretty.
Sorry, I'm a bad influence. I apologize.
No. That fits right in there with my vibe. I'm not using it. I'm taking it. That's going to be a me thing now.
Yeah, you've created a monster. That's going to be.
I'm not. I probably wouldn't put myself in that group, but I know quite a few people, and I respect it as a nerd subject. It's just not my subject, but I am learning about gear, and I'm honestly kind of new to it. But I'm starting to see, you know, patterns and changes. I can start to follow, you know, see some trends. I know some super secret trendy companies that you can only find on Instagram, and like, you know, I'm starting to learn a little bit. But where do you guys see the rest of 2025, 2026? Like, where do you see the evolution of firearms gear, firearms pouches? Where's it headed?
This is a good one. I can say we're thinking it's not super secret. We're out there. We're feeling like there's a huge push into tech, and we're here for it. You know, if there's drones, if there's MVGs, if there's anything tech that's going to make a soldier more lethal, we want to know about it. And we want to work with these OEM partners. There's a lot of drone companies, robotics, systems, tech, all of these things we want to be involved with because, sure, there could be huge multi-billion-dollar contracts from our military, which they deserve. They deserve this funding. They deserve all these contracts to make their jobs easier and make sure those guys come home alive.
Amen.
Of course, there's tech out there, but there's also all these underrated components of textiles. So, you know, a drone could be super high tech. It's programmed by this crazy cool software, but there's like a parachute material nylon that's housing these medical contents that are going to be deployed into theater without having to risk anybody's human life. I mean, this is cool as shit, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we're super stoked about all of our partnerships with future innovation and technology and where everything's going. But also, too, High Speed Gear Products Group. As I mentioned, we're High Speed Gear nylon flagship company, but we also have Black Point Tactical, Crucial Concealment, and Contact Holsters. But we're also looking for additional acquisitions. We want to become, 10 brands. We want to be the company that has high quality, USA made, all kinds of really cool equipment. So whether it's attachment methods or optics or all kinds of other brands, we're interested. We want to grow. We want to continue to deliver all these really great products to those who deserve it most.
Heck yeah. And
I love
John,
that.
I want you to touch on that too, because you're pretty fresh. You're pretty fresh out and in an infantry role. And so I think you're probably still pretty in touch. Like where do you see the movement of tactical gear?
I mean, I see it going in a good direction. You see more guys. I mean, whether it's online or you're at the range, people are starting to run better and better equipment because I think more people are waking up to the realization of the importance of it. So, and recognizing that if you're that person who is concealed carrying, you have a responsibility not only to yourself but to others around you to make sure that your kit is not going to fail and that you are safe to apply your knowledge or your capabilities with other people around you
In a public setting.
Yeah. It comes down to getting high quality holsters, getting high quality kit, and understanding that if it fails, you're not only the kit's not the only thing that's going to fail, you are too, and you're going to fail the people that are relying on you. So I think more people are taking that serious, and I think that's a good thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a very insightful way to look at it, but also paying attention to not just what the product line is, but what the product line can become, and that's huge. Yeah, you guys are gonna have to be making Xbox controllers, like pouches, just because all these drone guys are DJIs or whatever. We're not using those because those are Chinese, but you know what I mean. But it's interesting. It's crazy how the theater has changed. It's crazy how, I don't know. It's almost like you guys are outfitting soldiers, which is a wonderful thing, but outfitting of the soldier on the surface, it's still a necessary thing, but it seems like it's becoming a thing of the past. It seems like Allison, like you said, getting into the tech warfare, it's going to be, electronic device versus electronic device and survival of the fittest.
John Connor's going off, bro. You better relax.
Oh God, here he goes, a Terminator. This dude is
going to go. I mean, that goes back to how we've been able to be successful for so long is because of the adaptability of the entire company. In the R&D guys, we get something in over a phone call that, hey, this thing's failing in this way, or we need something new. The R&D guys get on it. They ask for everyone's input. They do their magic. They make the product work. They make it good, and then they pump it out to the customer. And it's that's made everything so successful.
So
into those new realms of whatever the direction that the world goes in, whatever community goes in, law enforcement, military, we adapt to it.
We're going to.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's take the staples out. Let's take the taco. Let's throw it out the window. Let's take the easy answers off the board. What is I'm going to ask you guys each, what is the most underrated or most slept on piece of kit that High Speed Gear makes that you think is fitting for the average civilian that they need to have or that they should have?
I'm about to go with the chest rig. The chest rig is not expensive. I use it all the time. I put my old Coyote Brown Marine Corps tacos that I bought with my own money before they were issued on that thing, and I use it all the time. It's in a good price point to where if you are not a guy who likes belts or you want to keep some kind of small kit in your vehicle, you can do so real easily. And I think that's definitely the most slept on product of High Speed Gear.
Dude, that made you so happy when you got to talk about that.
It did. It really did.
Ear to ear.
Is it over there? Go get it, John.
Yeah, you were just like,
show and tell.
Chest rig is.
Go get it. No, he's proud of it. I could tell.
Yeah,
let's see it. Show and tell.
You see a lot of chest rigs on the market. They're real fancy and they get expensive quickly.
Yes.
It's not necessary 100%. See.
Yeah, and you got to have like a.
Yeah, so that's the back of it.
There we go.
Just around the front.
Yeah, some of these things,
Beautiful.
like you need instruction manuals on how to put them on too. Like,
yeah. So this is just a molly panel with straps on it.
And a little dangle pouch. Yeah,
a dangler pouch. That's one of ours, and that's one of the like things I was going back to earlier. Right, this is full of first aid stuff. You got tacos on the back, and yeah, it's ready to rock and roll. So I think honestly, sometimes that might be a better option for your average everyday person than a belt, but it seems to work out good.
So I would say the most underrated civilian product would be our reflex vehicle headrest mount. Yeah. So, you know, in your POV, you know, if you're driving on your passenger side, we have a vehicle headrest mount where your IFAC can be stored. So, you know, this is not for going to the range. It could be, but this is not for your soldier, Marine, or law enforcement officer. This is just for like community safety. So the most underrated in my mind is just being able to, you know, if you're driving in your car and something happens in front of you and you want to be able to go help, a quick deployment of an IFAC right there in your headrest next to you, you could try to go help someone.
I love that. I love that because I'm the guy that I've got a chest rig, I've got a carrier, I've got a belt, and then I've got a medical kit in the truck. And we went on a for a friend of mine's kids' school. They did like a fundraiser with shooting trap, and so everyone goes out there, and I grabbed just a regular just a gear belt. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna wear like a regular one. I think it was a core belt, whatever. It was like whatever, put it on, and I had my shot shell net in there, and then I had a TQ on the back, and everyone was asking like, why are you carrying medical? And I just kind of looked at everyone. And I'm like, why is everyone not? Like, I understand this is charity. I understand this is for a good time. I understand it's to have fun, and I understand we're all responsible people, but accidents happen. So I'm a gear snob. I'm not a gear queer. I'm a gear snob when it comes to like, not that I turn my nose to certain things, but I like having gear. I like having a medical pack for anything that I do. If I'm wearing other than like just throwing some jeans on and going somewhere. If I've got a firearm or a weapon of any kind, like I want a medical pack on me as well. Yeah. Just for the fact, even if I don't know what the heck I'm doing, like I can
supply the person who does.
I can get some calls in it. Like, all right, hold on. Like, somebody that knows what they're doing can
got some rubber gloves and some gauze at least.
Yeah, and in large situations, you know, where you got everyone's wearing an IFAC, sometimes that IFAC's not necessarily your IFAC. It's the IFAC that somebody else is going to use on you.
Yeah.
Right. It's not yours to use on others. So, I mean, yeah, the same thing. If you can manage to stuff a tourniquet in your pocket or wherever, if you don't know how to use it, someone else does. But
that's been a new piece of EDC for me in the last year. A friend of ours, Adam, was pretty serious about medical all the time, and I'm just like, you know what? If I am carrying a gun everywhere, I should at least have a tourniquet.
Well,
100%.
But as a civilian,
I got a tourniquet in my backpack. I got first aid kit under the seat and stuff. But I always have a tourniquet on me, almost always.
Yeah.
Somebody said once, as a civilian, just as a civilian, you have the right to carry a firearm and to protect yourself. But if you have that same right, you should also extend the right to not only take life, but save life. So if you're going to carry a pistol, what's the harm in carrying an IFAC as well? I mean,
no, I agree with that. And, you know, a lot of guys, just like in your case, Matt, a lot of guys will carry our 24/7 trauma wrap. It's an ankle wrap, but you basically can fit gauze, chest seal, tourniquet, like the basic essentials, but it's around your ankle. So that way you're not having to put another thing around your waist, especially for concealability. If you're just looking for something comfy, easy to wear, that's a good one, especially for, you know, those situations where you don't feel like you're probably going to need medical gear. But just in case, like, I like what you said, Mike. If you're carrying a gun, you should also carry the contents to be able to save a life too.
I'm probably not going to need a gun, but I carry one anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
even if it's in your belt, if you're a backpack person or a, you know, off the body, you know, crossbody, you know, little fanny pack type thing.
Fanny packs are back in. You're cool
so,
again.
So horrible.
I got two of those suckers.
Oh, that,
I do too.
but it's like, even if you don't carry the medical on you, as long as it's on your person, like, oh, hey, it's my backpack sitting right here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than nothing. It's better than, I don't know. So I guess before we end and wrap up, I want to ask, is there anything that you guys have that's down the pipeline or that you're excited about for 2025 and beyond? Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to, or something you'd like to work on, or something you are working on?
John, what do you have up your sleeve?
Oh, for 2025 and 2026?
Uh-oh.
No, we might have to kill someone if we tell them, huh?
Well, then we can't tell, but we just have to. We'll just keep an eye.
I'm generic, man. There's a
I
lot.
think we kind of touched on it already, but there's just a lot of work being done behind the scenes with tech.
Yeah,
And
Awesome.
we're super thrilled to be, at the front lines doing this with all of our partners. We've never succeeded at being a copycat. That's not who we want to be. We want to be the company, yes, we're nylon. Yes, we're 3 holster brands, but we want to be the company that comes to market first because we've had all the great relationships with really good people who are trying to make really good products for those who deserve it most. And that's who we are and what we want to continue to be. So, there's a lot of cool things coming for sure.
I love that. Well, definitely when we wrap things up and they plug where to find these guys, when they talk about their website and their Instagram and all of their other socials, make sure you guys are liking and following and subscribing so you can stay up to date as well. But having said that, Matt, I believe we are at that time.
I think it's that time. And we warned you guys at the beginning. NFA doesn't matter. It's not the zombie apocalypse. It's not World War III. But you only get to take 5 guns for the rest of your life. What 5 guns are you taking with you?
Uh-oh.
What do you got, Jonathan?
An AR right off the bat.
Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
An AR, a 870.
Okay.
Yeah,
Solid,
for sure.
Solid choices.
Man. Glock 19 for sure.
Man, tried and true. You can't go wrong.
Yep. All 3 of those. Let's see.
John's a dependable guy, I can tell.
Yes.
I'm about to say Remington 700, dude.
Oh, gosh, man.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Dude.
So
And then
you gotta at least have
222.
one for fun, okay? Give me
You got-
something kind of not
but-
practical. You have
but
the
a
entirety
222, man.
of modern weapon design at your disposal here. What's the last one, John?
the Ruger 1022, man.
What?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You're
going.
such a fun.
Damn.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're
My man's
talking
good.
five
It is a
Five.
fun.
to last me the rest of my life. Yeah, those are the 5 I'm going with.
And
Man.
they will too. Every one of those.
They
models is
definitely
just
will.
Like just right
100%.
there at nothing exciting, but definitely the most dependable version of this thing
Yeah.
that's made.
You
No
are
good.
absolutely correct. Well, Allison, where can people find high speed gear?
Easy day. Highspeedgear.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, regrettably. We're there.
Oh.
If you want to see some crazy gear stuff, you can find us there.
I'm gonna have to. that.
Yeah. If there's any videos of me, please don't think less of me. They're just TikTok trends, I promise. But
I'm just waiting to see the guy that was twerking upside down with the mag pouch.
oh, that's Jay. Yeah. Definitely go check him out. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim would love you to actually go watch that. So.
Yeah, but also too, one thing that sets us apart from a lot of our competing brands out in the industry is we have real humans answering the phone. So if you call us, odds are you're going to talk to John in person, or you'll talk to me or Jay or Jamie or Jolie or Truett or Dane or Wade. I mean, real humans are going to answer the phone when you call us. So
all
if you're
11,
watching this,
all 11 employees will.
all 11.
Yeah, all 11 of them.
I love that. I love that. And how we always end every show is we always hit with a 2A Second Amendment piece of advice for our civilian world. And today is not much different than any other day. And it is take a new person shooting. Take someone who has never handled a firearm and set them up for success. Take them out and show them that while yes, firearms are a very important responsibility that we have to bear, we all hope and pray that in the civilian world, we're only defending ourselves maybe 1% of the time, and the other 99% is trying to look the part and trying to be the cool guy and just going out with our friends and our buddies and just having a good day at the range. So take someone out, set them up for success. Like I said, get them some high speed gear. Let them try some things out. Let them do some things. And yeah, is there anything else you guys want to add before we close out?
No,
think so.
just
Yeah.
stay safe, whatever you're doing. If you're just going to the range or taking an adolescent shooting, which is good, we all need to teach, the new generation how to handle firearms. My kids are 12 and 14, and they've been to the range multiple times. And I'm a firm believer if we teach our youth to use firearms safely, then there's never going to be a problem, and they'll always be able to protect themselves. So it's important.
You couldn't have said it any better. So on behalf of myself and Matt and Allison and John over at High Speed Gear, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.